Hello, everyone. My name is KJ, and I'm the host of Great Talking Entertainment official channel. And today's video is my non-spoiler review from the new movie Jurassic Park Rebirth, which is in theaters right now. So, let me be the one to convince you to go check this out. You may have heard about it. You see it trending. You may see your friends, your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your side piece, whatever talk about it, but you're not sure. Now, maybe you're somebody who grew up watching this film, the Jurassic Park series, the three classic, and you're not sure if it's gonna be as good as the one of those or the previous one that Chris Pratt was in, and maybe you're just not sure. But let me be the one to convince you to why you should check this out and why I think it's worth giving a chance. And if you guys do it because of me, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts about this film. And before we start this non spoiler review, if you could do one thing for me, could you hit the thumbs up button? That would help my YouTube channel out, and I would truly appreciate that. Thank you in advance. So now let's get into this non spoiler review for Jurassic Park Rebirth. Zora Bennett, who is played by Scarlett Johansson, leads a team of skilled operative teams to the most dangerous place on planet Earth, an island research faculty for the original Jurassic Park. And they are going there to collect a DNA form to create a medicine to help the human race and the dinosaurs from collapsing and going extinct. But it comes very dangerous when a shocking discontinued that's been hidden from the world. And I felt like I was watching a video game story as you had the main characters and side characters on a side quest that felt like to be on two different lines about it, but the main plot was really good, but then he had two different stories. And I don't think that's a bad thing that it felt like watching a video game story as far as like imagine you're playing a video game and then you go to a cutscene. It felt like one of those because all the thing I feel like I was missing was a video game controller in my hand. Again, that's not a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. And I think that was a really clever idea of storytelling with this as well. And, there's a lot of it's a very action packed. This film had a lot of action. It had a lot of scary moments like jump scares. And at times it felt like watching the very first Jurassic Park movie. Even like during the background sound music or sounds like when something was going to happen if a particular dinosaur was coming up and they were scared of it, it had that old school, like, the first Jurassic Park film or maybe, like, the classic Jaws, music sound that you would hear, like, like the opera, the violins, you hear all of that stuff, right? Like, it just felt like that, and I thought it was really cool, and it was really cool to hear those because it felt like an old school film, but old school film with today's high definition and cameras and technology that we have today to produce all the content of movies and shows today. So really good mashup, and I thought it was put well together. And when it comes to the ending of this, it's definitely gonna be a different storytelling of where they're gonna take the Jurassic Park franchise, and I think that's a good thing. It's risky, but I think people will truly enjoy it for what it is because it did have a satisfying ending with a really good cliffhanger that I think most of the OGs, the diehard fans of Jurassic Park will truly be happy with, and I think the casual fans, the people who haven't seen a Jurassic Park movie in a long, long time, I think you guys would definitely enjoy it and probably want to kick back and watch some old school Jurassic Park movies. That's what I think. How good I think this film is, in my opinion. But you know what? I'm gonna talk about the things I didn't like about it, and I only got 3. So, the first one was not enough dinosaurs. I felt like the humans in this film had too much scenes that didn't really relate to the main mission, the main plot. I feel like they were trying to tell a story where they were talking about the stuff they were dealing with their past and the past trauma that they have, and they kinda glazed over it, and there was no flashbacks about what they were like before this, previously in life. You know, some had a tragic, some lost a loved one, some feels lost doing this too much, and then there's this other group that just was about telling a story about family being family, giving somebody a chance, watching somebody grow and mature and become a man or become a woman. And, just there's some silly stuff because in this film there was, a lot of comedy in here, but not like too much comedy, but a lot enough to be a little silly, be a little funny because not all the dinosaurs in this movie were scary. Some were cute, baby, cuddly like, and hey, it's gonna sell toys, right? But I think it was a good thing, and they placed those little silly comedy, funny, haha moments in the right place at the right time without diluting the main plot and the main focus of what, this film is about. So that was a okay part, but again, I feel like they should have had more dinosaur scenes where they're interacting with dinosaurs, whether it's a good way or a bad way, but just keep a dinosaur part of the scenario of it. That's my only complaint about that in its terms of scenes with the dinosaurs, which gets me to number 2, which it kind of relates to the first one, which is they didn't show the T-Rex enough. I always feel like if you're gonna have the logo of the Jurassic Park, which is a skeleton of a T-Rex, basically, you should have the T-Rex in here because, again, a T-Rex would obviously chase them. A T-Rex would obviously wanna, devour them and put them in their belly. They get hungry, right? But they didn't do that. They show the T-Rex for sure, but I think just not enough, in my opinion. And then number 3, unnecessary romance in this movie. I felt like since they didn't really have these characters really connect with the audience like that, and they kind of just glazed over some stuff and told a quick backstory without actually having scenes, it made it at times difficult to connect and understand these characters. So it was kind of confusing why such and such would like each other. And I feel like most people are not gonna care about it, and I felt like they shouldn't even put that much of an effort to put that much scenes about them being flirty or maybe finding true love within the groups of people in this film. Again, that's why it goes back to needs more dinosaur scenes in this because it should just focus on the dinosaurs. Like, if the dinosaurs have a romantic scene, that's fine. We wanna see the dinosaurs find love. I mean, they're animals, right? It's just too unnecessary like that. Now, let's talk about the things I did like about it. Now, I did like the main plot. I felt like the plot was of the story was really very well balanced out between catering to the audience who watched all the Jurassic Park films, read the books, just a huge fan of it. I felt like they catered to that because there was a lot of callbacks and reference, or as they like to call them in the movie theaters, the movie industry, the Easter eggs that, they gave you a bunch of that. They even played like the Jurassic Park song that everybody's familiar with. And They had moments where it felt like watching the first Jurassic Park film, which that's a plus to me, and I think that's what it needed, but you know why I like that? Because in the title of there's the word rebirth in the title of the movie, Jurassic Park Rebirth. This to me, the plot really does explain that this is a rebirth to this universe. And as far as how it's gonna look like to me, I think they're on the right track. It's different. They did this is a non-traditional Jurassic Park story. This is a story that most people didn't expect it to be like, but they're going this route. But I think this is good for the franchise. I think the story they just told is really going to elevate the franchise, give it a fresh a breath air, give it new life. And I think it will give the next generation of Jurassic Park fans. But again, I think the people who grew up watching these films, who are just a fan of Jurassic Park in general, would truly appreciate this, that they're doing a plot that's outside of the box. Think outside the box sometimes. It's one of those moments, and this does make sense to me. And I'm not surprised they're going that way as far as the way they went with the plot. The second thing that I like is the actors and actresses. Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, and Mahershala Ali. Man, they are though their performance was so excellent. Like, man, and they're just so good at it. Again, I know I said like some of their backstories it was really hard to understand these characters and try to connect with them to want to be a fan of them. But I think you're gonna be a fan of these characters because who the actor and actresses are in this film. I think you're gonna be a fan of Scarlett Johansson's character because it's Scarlett Johansson, and I think you're gonna be a fan of Mahershala Ali's character because it's Mahershala Ali, and same for Jonathan Bailey and everybody else in this, right? I think you would be a fan of these characters because who's portraying them, who's in this film, and this is a somewhat star power film. This is big stars who you probably seen in other film. Obviously, Scarlett Johansson, Marvel, right? She's Black Widow. She's in it. Scarlett Johansson like doesn't get any bigger than that, in my opinion. And again, that's why I think their performance in this film, again, the dialogue wasn't bad, it wasn't cringy. The acting wasn't didn't feel off. They showed the emotions that needed to be in a Jurassic Park film, and I thought it was really great with them. I can't I hope to see this cast in the Rebirth 2 film of Jurassic Park. I hope so. I hope they do a sequel, and I'm pretty sure they will. I think their goal is to do another trilogy of this, in my opinion. So I hope they do that. And then the last thing that I like about this is, of course, the ending. I think this is like I said earlier, this is a satisfying ending with a really good cliffhanger that only a Jurassic Park film could ever deliver. Now, I think they went above and beyond. And again, I think and if you want to know my fan film theory about this, definitely check out my spoiler review for this film on the YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. It's just going to be audio, but I think it's so good, right? And the way I think they're going, it totally makes sense. Now, at first, people are going to hate on it, whether they read about it, make reports, or people are gonna hate on it if they make a trail when they release the trailer to a sequel to this particular film, and I'm pretty sure they will, that I think people at first are gonna be negative about it, but I think once that sequel film comes out in theaters, I think people are gonna like it because it is very risky where they're going with it. It does kinda go off the rails as far as what a Jurassic Park story is supposed to be in maybe the audience's eyes, you know what I'm saying? But I think that what they're gonna do is gonna be excellent. I think they're gonna succeed in telling a new story in Jurassic Park that people wouldn't expect. But you shouldn't be surprised. Again, we have a Marvel Cinematic Universe. We have a DCU universe where there's Superman and Batman exist, right? We have a Lord of the Rings universe. We have, a Harry Potter universe. Like, and then the one I always like to compare this is the Fast and the Furious. Look how the first Fast and the Furious movie is, and look at the last current one that they made. The story's changed, the dynamic of it has changed, and they went above and beyond in a Fast and the Furious franchise. And Jurassic Park is going to take a big leap of faith, but I think it's going to work. So, if I had to give this a 1 out of 10, I'm giving it an 8.5. I think it's really good. I think it has its errors I think they should work on. And I think again, I think it's still a well-told standalone film in general, and I think it's worth seeing it twice, whether you see it again in theaters or just wait till it's on the streaming service. I definitely would watch. I think it's that good to watch again and again if you can. So, definitely it's worth it, and I would love to hear you guys again in the comments below what you think about Jurassic Park Rebirth. So that's my spoiler review. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.